welcome to InTouch, Think STEM Career Podcast. I am Dr. Ayola Fadi, the host of the InTouch Think STEM Career Podcast. STEM is vital to our community because our community's health, economy, and future depends on our solid foundation and participation in the innovation taking place in the STEM field. As a result, this podcast explores the evolving world of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics in underrepresented communities, including the Blacks, Indigenous, people of color, and Africa. As the STEM field continues to evolve, this podcast will attempt to connect with men and women who are champions of and in STEM education and career to gain insight into how the BIPOC community can be part of the STEM innovation and how they can inspire and support the creation of innovative solutions for sustainable development that will continue to contribute to the positive change in our community for improving the quality of life. Today, I'm honored and I am privileged to have on my podcast, Lucy. Lucy Mwaniki. I know I butchered your name. My apology. Did I please
No,
correct?
you're fine. You're okay.
Please correct.
Yes, you're okay.
So
Yeah.
how do you pronounce your last name, Lucy?
So there's two ways to do it. You can either
Okay.
say Mwaniki, or the very Kikuyu way or traditional way is Mwaniki. So
Oh,
yeah,
Mwaniki.
but you're okay.
Very
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in touch. Think STEM careers, Lucy. I gathered, I owe you a congratulations. You're starting a new position. Can you tell us about it, please?
So I have multiple new positions as a
my.
personal assistant in various companies, and it's a nice experience. I'm sort of trying to get the most out of life, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
you are going to be you're going to be holding a really very important position in the Kruger Band, I believe, Brent.
Yep,
Limited. And then you are also going to be working for a certain private office. So what do they do? What do you do?
So certain is more family governance, which is something out of my scope of work and experience. So that's
Okay.
new for me, but super exciting.
Okay.
And Kruger Brents does real estate here in
Okay.
Kenya in general. So again, out of my scope of work, but the beautiful thing is the reason why I've gotten these opportunities is because of STEM, because
Okay.
of being tech savvy. So it opened the door for me. So
Oh.
exciting.
Oh, very good. Excellent.
Yeah.
So I noticed when I looked at your profile on LinkedIn, you received a Bachelor's of Science from University of Imbu.
Yes.
Did I pronounce that correctly? And,
Yes.
okay. And a diploma in information
Oh.
technology from Kenyatta University. That's pretty impressive. So, so when did you realize that you wanted to pursue STEM degree and do something beyond that?
Well, for the longest time, I was in denial, but I always knew I enjoyed math and I enjoyed science. I just didn't know what I really wanted to do with that love for the subjects, I guess.
Yeah.
So when we were, so in Kenya, we usually select what type of courses and what universities we want to go to right before we finish our final high school examinations.
Okay.
So I selected a lot of science-based courses, and somehow the government decided I'm going to do a general science course.
Mm-hmm.
And at first it was devastating, to say the least. But then I got to experience it, and I started to fall in love with it all over again, the love for science in general. So I ended up doing my major in math and physics and getting a minor in chemistry.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of the science and the math. and sort of engineering.
Wow.
And then I did an internship that made me fall in love with STEM education. So I decided after graduating, let me try and get a diploma in information technology. And then now what I am is STEM on its own, like I'm everything STEM, which is exciting.
Wow, wow. Is this normal in Kenya that you have a lot of women? By the way, happy International Women's Month.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Better late
Yeah,
than never.
it's a big deal, actually. It is. So,
Yeah.
what is the representation of women in Kenya, in STEM, or STEAM in Kenya? Are there a lot of women being represented?
Um, Not as much as you'd want, but over the years we've noticed the increase in numbers that we have of women pursuing things like engineering, and so it was mostly education for women, arts for women, and then it went into maybe nursing, very, very not really intensive in terms of science courses.
Okay.
But then over the years, I guess with the integration of STEM in schools more and more, it's opened us women's minds and thinking larger than what is expected of us and trying to figure out what we truly want to do and chasing that, which is, yeah, pretty much it. Although when I was in campus, I was the only lady in my physics class, which was a whole other thing. But I survived. We were only 3 ladies in our math class. And then there's this notion, especially in Kenyan schools, whereby they think physics is for the boy child, mathematics is for the boy child, chemistry is for the boy child, but biology is for the women.
Wow. Whoa.
For me, I know, for me, it was the exact opposite. I really
Right.
did not understand biological sciences.
Right.
So
Right.
I tended to be the outlier.
Right.
But now as things are progressing, as the access to internet and knowledge and everything, the numbers are getting way better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
If you ask me.
Oh, wow. So who paved the way for you? I mean, was there someone like a role model that you saw, something that had an impact on you that causes you to sort of say, I really want to pursue STEM and I want to do physics. I want to do mathematics. I mean, was there something? Was there a moment? Was there someone? Right?
So I guess, okay, yes, and sort of like 50-50, I guess. When I was, how old was I? I think I was 11. I was in 5th grade in a school in the heart of Georgia, in Decatur, Georgia. Shout out to, maybe she'll be watching, she'll call Miss Wheeler. She used to teach us at Glenwood Elementary. And she was the most amazing teacher. The way she approached math and sciences with us, it was never uptight. She always put in the effort. She always went the extra mile to ensure that we got what we were learning. We kind of retained all our knowledge. We had fun while we were learning. And it wasn't as though, I don't remember actually doing tests that I'd fail or anything. I just remember passing, but I don't remember how I passed. I just knew I was getting better and better, and I enjoyed math. And that kind of changed my aspect as to how I'd want the next generation to approach sciences and math. I'd like it to be more of curiosity and interest as opposed to testing your knowledge on a specific subject to an extent that you also don't understand. So she pretty much had the biggest impact. But aside from that, I guess my dad has the biggest one yet. Because he supports me in all my ventures. He paid for my university education. He does everything for me. He supports me even when it feels like I'm failing. I know he's got my back. So yes, he has to be my biggest. And also, I guess he taught me that sometimes when you find out your passion, it's important to chase your passion as opposed to chasing the money. So pursuing what you absolutely love and what makes you feel whole is more important than anything in the world. So yeah. Wow. I guess those are the 2 major ones.
Well, a shout out to both your former teacher and your father, of parents and teaching. I've always believed that teachers do make a difference on the outcome, and parents definitely make you know, a difference on the outcome of a child. Now look at you, right? Something to,
hopefully I'll be the same, hopefully. Yeah.
So you make them very proud.
Yeah.
So what is the state of STEAM or STEM education in Kenya currently?
So currently there's been a high focus, not really on STEAM, more on STEM. They're sort of forgetting the arts in it all.
Yes.
But there's been this surge of focus into STEM, investing in schools and STEM and all these things. And it's amazing. As I am very biased, I am very focused on STEM also.
Right.
But also there's a missing link in terms of the type of investment levels.
Okay.
So you find like Kenya is divided into counties. So the government has supported some of the schools in the counties, but the higher ranking ones.
Wow. The
question becomes what happens to the low ranking schools, and how do they access this same materials that are given, and the access, the level of it's like, it feels more like having a favorite child and
wow.
giving them all the investment than leaving out everyone else.
Wow.
Because the question becomes, if there is a really bright and a potential amazing STEM student in a school that does not have the resources, what then happens to them?
Yes. Yes.
Originally, it was meant to be a pilot project where they bought laptops, they gave robotics, Lego robotics kits to the schools, they did special training for the teachers and all these things. And with time, there was hope for it to expand into other schools. But the longevity of it kind of brings up a lot of questions, because the level of investment required for something like that is also very high. And yeah, still, yeah, let's just say there's a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of effort that has been put in. Also, things like our science fair. It used to be Science Congress. Now it's called the Kenya Science, Engineering and Science Fair. Oh wait, I think I said science twice. Kenya yes, Kenya Science and Engineering Fair, where they've included different categories and expounded how big science is, and given students opportunities to present their projects and work on their projects and interact with other students with their projects. And it starts from regional level to county level to now the larger region, then into the national level. And it's brought about so many wonderful projects, and the government can clearly, you can tell the government has put in the work because of the results that are being gotten from it all. Okay. But there is still miles and miles and miles to go ahead.
So yeah. in the participation, I mean, is it the science fair or the STEM fair, is it done based on the grade level, or is it done, you know, do they just lump everybody together? I mean, how, so can you tell us a little bit about the structure?
Okay, so here what they do is it's focused in the high school level students, only high school level students. So like they kind of say, for us, we don't do high school in grade levels, we do it from 1, from 2, from 3, and from 4. So they kind of lump them in together. So whoever has a project, you just bring it in, present it, and then there's an assessment rubric to it all. So they assess it, and then they decide who proceeds into the next level. So the best thing about it is it's open to all students, all schools. So it's way more inclusive than most other types of competitions. It's not like the national level schools or anything. It's, you are in a day school, you can go ahead and come up with your project and present it. But then I also feel like sometimes it's biased, because the higher level schools have more funding, have more investment, as opposed to the lower level schools. So putting them at the same level of competition kind of is a disadvantage to some. But then again, they always excel at their own thing. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited about the fact that at least there is some equity. Anyone can participate, which is good. It is open to everyone. So in regards to, but the only disadvantage, as you've said, is in terms of equity, in terms of funding. So if you are from a poorer, high school, probably you don't have enough resources to be able to prepare you. comparable to someone who is from a
national level, yeah.
right, affluent.
Yeah.
So does this help the students? What is your perspective? Does this type of competition, do you think that it helps propel students to pursue STEM careers or STEM degree? Do the students get, let's say, recognition from that, from university, that basically maybe the recruits noticing that, oh, the students really have the apps, right? Has these
Yes.
skills for, I mean, what is your perspective?
Okay, so I am a bit on the fence about this whole competition situation, because there's one side to it where you have students who come up with amazing projects, and when it comes to the stage of prototyping, which now is expected in this competition, the school tends to get an external person to help with the prototyping, which is wonderful because the ideas are the students, yes. But now problem becomes in terms of innovation and building and creating their projects, it's not really personal. They're not really given the skills that are required to actually advance in the next level. So if you have a project that has requirements of coding, for me, it would make more sense to teach the students how to code as opposed to getting somebody from outside to come in and code for them. So I think that is where my problem comes in.
Okay.
Otherwise, I acknowledge that these competitions are a huge deal, and some students have gotten recognition to a point of getting external scholarships to very international universities.
Nice.
And it's a definite plus. Some have gotten to a point where after they presented their projects, they end up prototyping them and selling them. Yeah, so it's amazing, but also there's a short change in terms of the skills that are given to the students themselves.
Okay.
There's a lot of sort of skipping stages to it.
Right. So when you say outside, do you mean foreign or do you mean outside the school system?
Okay. So outside the school. Let's say myself, a school called me up and asked me to, a student had an idea for an app. They wanted the app to do this and this. Can you create the app for them?
Okay.
So I would love to, and I'd get paid for it by the way. But then it doesn't really fit right with me because I'd rather empower the students to do it themselves.
I got you.
Because then you'd have a wholesome student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have the?
So it's not as common.
Yes.
It's not as common, but when it does happen, I feel like it's just a plus that they win and they go on to the next stage, and it's wonderful. It makes the students feel amazing.
Right.
But then it's a short change for them because if you give them the skill, they can do way more with it. Right.
Wow. I do see your point. I do see your point of view. Yeah. Wow. That is, so do you think, so how does that impact, people like you who want to start an after school program to fill, that sort of void? I know that you are into technology and so, and I have a couple of questions on that. So, but I want to follow through with this. Does it inspire some of citizens like you, Kenyan citizens like you who are in STEM to want to set up, a after school program or a program to offer, your services, helping?
Yes. yes, it does. I think that's a major inspiration I got because I kept on asking myself if I had the opportunity to have a teacher come in and teach me these things when I was in high school, how much further would I have been in life? Because I had the curiosity. I just didn't know how to get it done. I didn't have access to somebody anyone come in and tell me, this is how you code, this is where we begin. So that has really, really pushed me to stick around and try and create a center or a space where students, even if it's on holiday programs, just come in, we'd have a boot camp, introduce them to the world of technology and how to prototype for yourself, how to build from scratch, and kind of show them that, this is going to be a by the way, but the best thing about technology and science in general is you learn how to fail and how to learn from failure, as opposed to always getting things right and being hammered that you have to get things right. I try my best to teach my students that it's okay to fail. It's okay to get it wrong, because you'll just pick it up again. You already know one way it won't work, just try it again. And that's the beauty of technology and coding. You debug the system, you find a bug, you debug it. And that's how it works. Kind of builds the momentum and also perseverance in terms of figuring out what science is, which is something that's been missing for years, if you ask me, in our system.
Right.
Ours.
Very good. I'm glad that there are young, upcoming, STEM ambassadors like you helping to try to prepare or encourage and skilled the young generation in Kenya. That is really good. So in terms of girls' involvement, what is the level of involvement of girls? I know that in the United States, one of the things that the government is trying to do is to increase the level of representation or participation of girls and women in the STEM field. So I'm curious in Kenya. So what is the level? Are there, is the level pretty high? Do you think, how is the impact of the cultural or ethnic-based microaggression in gender disparity when it comes to, girls and women participation? Can you talk about that, please? I know I know you're exceptional. No one can. Yeah. So let me put it a different way. Are there more women like you who basically nothing stops you? You know what you want, and so can you talk?
Okay, over the years, it has gotten better. Let's just say it's gotten better.
Okay.
The government has worked really, really hard to ensure that things that used to affect the education levels of women are being mitigated. There are a lot of cultural effects that we had in our system that now the government is working around them to ensure that there's more inclusion of the girl child in school activities, actual general attendance in schools. There's policies that have been built to criminalize, they have criminalized children not going to school. Like, if a parent doesn't take their child to school, they can be arrested.
Oh, wow, that's good. Okay.
So these sort of things and policies, they are forcing parents who would otherwise have left their daughters out of school. Now they are forced. A few years back, okay, maybe a decade back, the school had pre-primary education, which removed the whole aspect of, I don't have money, I can't take my daughter to school. Right. So now it's just free and they can go to school constantly. And then there's a lot of education in terms of informing parents who are probably illiterate or do not have access to this information. They are taught about the importance of school, and it's getting better. A lot of minds have been opened. The government has done with the investment in STEM schools, as they call them, STEM model schools in each county. They did not just choose one boys' school or anything. They just did one boys' school, one girls' school in each and every county. So there's a form of equity in it all in terms of gender.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful thing to see. This way, when you get to competition, there's a lot of balance in terms of which gender it's closer than it has ever been before.
Wow.
And you find now the girls are winning these competitions, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see the projects that they come up with. The confidence levels have gone up. More when you go to school, you talk to them and they want to do science courses. The lie that science courses were for men is slowly and surely dying. We're hoping it completely dies. Yeah.
Wow, that is really amazing. So let me pin this down. So in Kenya, so there is like a boys STEM school and girls STEM school in every county. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
This is really good. So,
Yeah.
so it seems to
Yeah.
me that the Kenyan government is really making a lot of big efforts to make sure that they are addressing equity and they're encouraging, young women to pursue STEM careers or STEM degrees, and that is phenomenal. This is really beautiful. This is the good news for me in terms of equity, and so that is really good. On your LinkedIn profile, you said that you get to teach fantastic being at Brights, beginning in, is it Caliphate?
Kilifi.
Or Kilifi
Kilifi.
County, yeah,
Yes.
Kilifi County. Once every
Yes.
you explore and create together in class, and you even I think, what are the levels? What grade level are these students? Are they third grade level, or are they, lower?
So in that picture specifically, those are that grade level. At the school, I teach third grade, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade.
Okay, so you show them
Yeah.
how to do coding, and help them from the scratch, right from the beginning. This is
Yeah.
it goes back to what you've alluded to earlier. What is missing, and when you bring in outside mentor doing the coding for the students don't get
Yeah.
to learn. So what you're doing is you're mitigating, you're addressing that concern. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please? If you don't mind, your experience with the students.
Yes. My experience has been amazing. I think the biggest lie we tell ourselves is sometimes things are too complicated for kids to understand. But then the level of curiosity and the level of need to learn that students have, even when they're younger, is exactly why we should introduce some of these concepts beforehand. So you find like in my third grade class, we talk about topics like logic. And as long as you explain it well, they'll understand what logic means in terms of coding. You can introduce concepts like how to do infinity loop, like big words, but then you just teach them at their level and they have fun with it. And you see the potential of growth. And because of how I am trying my best to introduce it in stages, as they develop, we will smoothly transition into robotics. And for them, I don't think they'll struggle with it at all. Wow. Because they get what is happening, they see it and they enjoy it, and they're more curious. They're like, after this, I want to build an app, I want to build a website, I want to hack, I want to do all these things, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful to see, and I love every bit of it.
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to commend you. What is your proudest moment, especially when you're involved with the students, and what is your lowest moment?
Okay, so proudest moment is at the end of every one of my class, yes, I let one group present their work. And the look of pride in their face and telling the whole class, so the idea behind our code was this, this, and that. This is the story we were trying to tell with our code. And the smiles on their face, the feeling of achievement that they have, that has to be my proudest moment each and every time. My lowest moment has to be when a student struggles so much that they aren't able to really translate the ideas they have in their head into their project. And that look of, I have failed, that has to be my lowest moment. Because I try every single lesson, I remind them, in my class, there is no failure. You might have misstepped or maybe miscalculated, but you have not failed. I'm not going to penalize you because you weren't able to translate from your idea to something practical. We just need to figure out how we balance from your idea stage. We kind of work into how to code it into reality. Right. So I think that's usually my hardest moment. I had a student actually break down in tears because time had run out and she couldn't do anything more. She started crying. And I asked her just to come over after lunch and we'd work together. So that probably is
So if you were to design a perfect STEM program, for your students, what will it look like? What will it look like?
Probably end up being a bit chaotic, but good chaotic.
Okay, good. I wanted to say that. Good chaotic. As long as they're working, they're learning, right? We love that as teachers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Because I feel like sometimes the whole being all uptight and being in a class situation kind of closes their minds in. I'd want them to be free to like get up and walk around and kind of like talk to themselves. Right. And let them have as much time as possible. That's the other thing. Giving them time and letting them work at their own pace, as opposed to telling them we only have 40 minutes for this class and we have to finish everything in 40 minutes. I feel like that's usually very limiting. So my ideal STEM program would have a 3-hour thing with breaks in between to play and have fun and get back to your project and have a sort of, I like having pitch sort of presentations where I ask you, you built this was your idea from scratch. Now tell it to me. Tell me why this is important to you and why it would be important to me. And we work on things like this because it also helps students build their confidence. Yeah. And also, by the time I am done with them, this is the confidence I have. By the time I'm done with them, they'll be trying to sell their projects to companies and stuff. So why not start now? Why not start working on their pitches right now? Wow. During class, during breaks, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yes, time can be a challenge sometimes. So I can see that. What about in terms of technology? What will you like? What will you like that could really help you? I want you to say it out. Who you never know who watches this this podcast, this video podcast. Somebody may watch it and decides that they want to give back. Right. So
yeah. Fingers crossed. So around a time like this last year, a year ago, actually, I think it was exactly a year ago, I was introduced to a microcontroller by BBC Education called the Microbeat. And the Microbeat has the most intriguing applications to it. And it's also so very simple to introduce students to. And it can be used in any situation, in any class, be it a science class, be it an arts class, being anything. And the simplicity of it and also the complexity of it at the same time is the reason why I would absolutely love to work with this. I'd like to set up a situation where I'd have those microbits and have my students build robots and systems using those microbits, because that's how major its application is. It's a midpoint between complexity of something like Arduino, but at the same time with a level of ease for students with something like Scratch, and it has that balance to it that a 9-year-old can easily learn programming through it, can understand Python, can understand multiple languages using something as simple as that, and can build and innovate. And that has to be the best part of it all. Seeing your students build something from scratch and without your input, maybe like guidance once in a while, but then the idea for them has started from beginning to end. It gives them confidence, and it also gives you as a teacher confidence that you did right by them. You give them the skills that were required, and clearly they are able and they have shown their capabilities. And I think that's what I strive for. So yes, Micro:bit is my major, I think, wish list. Yes, Micro:bit are it.
Everybody, yes. Everyone, you heard that? Micro:bit.
Right? Micro:bit, please.
Micro:bit. For Lucy, yes. Not students. That is good. Yeah. That's good. So if you were to advise your government, the Kenyan government or the policymakers in regards to STEM or STEAM, the future of STEM and STEAM in Kenya, what will it be? What will be your advice?
I think majorly,
how can they support you and the other great ambassadors? I'll call you ambassadors in STEAM and STEM, right?
So I think I'd advise that STEM isn't really boiled down into only technology. Okay. And there are so many innovative ways of teaching STEM on its own that doesn't really require extreme investment. So when it comes to the low-funded schools, I'd advise them to kind of try and help them catch up to the rest with some materials. Let's just say materials, yes, because if a school does not have a lab, that's a problem. Also, at the same time, there's a notion of safeguarding or gatekeeping materials when they are provided to schools that limit curiosity, and sort of if a student wanted to go the extra mile, they don't really have that access or ability to. So I think I'd ask them to increase the supply of materials that would allow for teachers and, let's say, lab technicians not to gatekeep the stuff and just let the students explore and be scientists in general. Allowing people to become scientists is a major problem, because being a scientist requires curiosity. And if I don't have a space where I can be curious, then that's also hard to build. Yeah, I think that would be majorly it. Increase sort of the funding given so as to encourage curiosity among students. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And what about parents for young? I know your father played a significant impact on your decision to pursue a degree in physics and mathematics. So for a young girl that is coming up, I know that in some places in Africa, parents, for one reason, it is complicated. You know, it could be for economical reason. It could be for the fact that the parents need the child to help in the house. It could be for different factors. So what advice will you give parents that are watching this program to encourage their young daughters, not just the boys, to pursue physics, engineering, mathematics? Do you have any advice for them, for parents?
I think the major thing would be to ask them to listen and observe, and generally pay attention to the way your daughter approaches things. Even in life, you find that sometimes your daughter is inclined not to enjoy languages, not to enjoy all these things, but when it comes to math, they sort of geek out and they beam and they enjoy the whole idea of doing it. I think I would pay attention to that and encourage it, not really shove it down their throat or anything, kind of encourage their curiosity and kind of push it to the next level, challenge them to do more and more. In this way, by the time they get to choosing what to do in campus, they're already comfortable in the knowledge that this is what I excel in and this is what I love doing. Because sometimes those two are very different things. You can excel in art and still not be your passion, and you can fail in science, but it be your passion.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of like shift the two into one thing? How do you make them excel and absolutely love what they do? And that's a major thing, because we lose a lot of passionate people because life kind of did the last minute a bit, kind of went south in the last minute. So I'd advise to listen and kind of get to know them, because that's very huge indicators about how different your daughter would be. For me, I remember growing up, I used to do my older brother's math homework just to learn in advance. And at some point in high school, I struggled with math, and my dad just came over and told me, "This isn't you. You have loved math since you were little. We have seen you grow in math, and I don't understand what is going on." So it kind of challenged me to look into why am I failing and what is so different? Did I stop loving math? And the answer was always no. It's always been a constant. So he has been the one calling me back into what I absolutely love, and me being here, I would have ended up doing something like nothing, which I was definitely not passionate about, but now I'm doing absolutely what I love. So yes, he paid attention and he got to know me while I was growing up. And that helps me also not lose myself in everything else. So yes, listen to them, pay attention to them, and guide them. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lucy. I truly appreciate you, Lucy, for your wonderful wisdom and insight. And again, happy International Women's Month. You are phenomenal. I just want to say that. And I'm hoping that many young ladies that are watching this program will be able to see you and be inspired. I'm hoping that parents that have heard your wisdom and insight will be encouraged to encourage their young daughters to pursue STEAM and STEM careers. I'm hoping that the Kenyan policymakers and government, they're watching this program. Please listen to one of your STEAM ambassadors and educators. They know what they're talking about. I just want to thank you again, Lucy, for coming to InTouch Think Career, InTouch Think STEAM Career podcast. I truly appreciate your time, spending your morning with me. Of course, it's afternoon all right.
Yeah.
So I would like to invite you in the future to come back again and give us some updates, your new position and how things are going. Thank you once more again, Lucy. I appreciate you.
Oh, can I give one last shout out before we sign off?
Absolutely, yes. By all means.
So, obviously, first, my family, and my best friends. I absolutely love them. And most importantly, I want to shout out my son.
Oh, your son. Oh,
yes, I have a 6-year-old.
How old is your son? How old is your son?
He's 6 years old. His name is Dabai.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. My pride and joy.
Yeah, congratulations.
Also going to end up being a scientist or a coder or a gamer. Still discovering it all.
Remember, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
It does not. So yes, I'd like to thank everyone who's helped me get here. It's been a journey, yeah. And obviously my employers / clients, all of them.
Very proud.
Thank you too. This is amazing. Thank you for the opportunity to join you. This is amazing. I never thought I'd be here. And the joy of technology, I guess.
I know the technology has made the world smaller, right? So which is good. Anything I can do, welcome. Thank you once more again. I truly appreciate coming on to InTouch Think STEAM Careers podcast. STEAM is vital to our community because our community's health, economy, future depend on our solid foundation and participation in the innovation taking place in the STEAM field. As a result, this podcast explores the evolving world of science, technology, engineering, art, and math in underrepresented community, including the Blacks, the indigenous, people of color, and Africa. Thank you for taking your time and for watching this program. Please support this program, subscribe to this program, donate to this program if you can, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, and if you have some suggestion on how I can make this better, please feel free. I'm open to all of that.